How's it going, everyone? Hope you're all doing awesome. Today we are going to be going over a campaign guide for Doom War Chapter 1 after some requests and the fact that I kind of went backwards and released Chapter 2 not too long ago. I also want to point out for those who are on Doom 1 still, I do have a playthrough that I did when the patch went live, and I will link that in the description below as well. This guide will take into consideration what I believe to be the best characters to use for this campaign if you're struggling, but I will try to update this as new characters come out if they qualify under those traits as well if you're watching this down the line. This will of course be in my PowerPoint style of guides, and so for that reason I won't be on the screen as I go through it, so I don't block any of the text, but hopefully it all makes sense to you guys, and I will have it available for you to check out online if you want to as well. So without further ado, let's get it started. And so here we are at the beginning of the slideshow here at Doom War Chapter 1. So just to remind people, for those that forget, this does unlock after clearing Nexus Chapter 8, which requires level 70+. I do have a level 70 campaign guide as well, which I will leave in the description below as well in case you're not quite at Doom War Chapter 1 yet, but are working towards that. So that will be Hero 7, Villain 7, and then Nexus 8, which you need to clear in order to get into Doom War. So just for people to be aware of that. Now, just like those as well, they do have trait-based node requirements, and this segment is to unlock Negasonic Teenage Warhead, or NTW, who is used for unlocking Dr. Octopus, part of the X-Force team. And there is a node for Thor. I put LOL in brackets there, because really, if you're at Doom War Chapter 1, I would highly expect you to have Thor unlocked and probably geared up, because he is required for Black Bolt as well. And if you're in Doom War, I kind of expect that most players probably would have Black Bolt by now, but at the very least you'll have Thor unlocked. So I hope that's just a placeholder still for another character. We've been saying that for a little while now. I think it's been 2 patches since Doom War Chapter 1, so yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with that, but hopefully they take Thor out and put him somewhere else. This is also where you will start finding the Gear Tier 14 mini uniques, which are available to farm here as well. So I will point out in each segment which ones you can get for these nodes as well. So some of these are quite nice to farm. So let's get this started here in the first segment here at Doom War Chapter 1, 1 to 1-3. Now I have a little screenshot here in the side here so you can see what I'm talking about of the mini unique for mutants at Doom War 1-2. So this will require you using hero mutants and hero inhuman characters only. This obviously, like I said, unlocks after clearing Nexus Chapter 8 and 9, and includes the isochronal compound, that's the mutant mini that I just showed out there on Doom 1-2, plus the encoded data, which is a skill mini on Doom Chapter 1-3. So that it doesn't really have any shards there. You can farm some superior basic catalysts if you like, and on that node is also the skill mini. So the best options that you can use for this lane, in my opinion, is Inhumans with Black Bolt. Now, anyone that's sort of in white, typically at this point, are unfarmable characters. I will update this as this becomes more available if some of this changes. If you don't have the Inhumans in Black Bolt, really the second best option probably is X-Men with Phoenix and Beast. Now, the reason why I point this out, and I think this was also an option potentially in Nexus Chapter 8 as well, but if you are going to use Phoenix, you kind of need to use Beasts alongside them, because Beast passive allows you to 3-star nodes even if characters die, like Phoenix typically does when she turns into Dark Phoenix. So usually that prevents you from getting a 3-star on a node. Now, if this doesn't bother you, of course, if you're just looking to clear the nodes to get into the next set of lanes, then you can feel free to use Phoenix and Dark Phoenix and just rip through the node, and you'll probably have an easy time doing that. Now, option 3, this is a bit of a mixture option. This includes Black Bolt as well. You can use Crystal and Yo-Yo, who are kind of like the 3 best Inhumans that you can use for campaigns, and then your 2 strongest hero mutants. I do want to point out, for some people who might forget, that you can't mix Yo-Yo and other protectors like Colossus or any others with the protector trait, because her passive won't trigger if that happens. So do keep that in mind if you are planning on using Yo-Yo, either in these campaign chapters or really anywhere else for that matter. And what I cleared personally was Quake, Crystal, Black Bolt, Yo-Yo, and Cable, who was my highest hero mutant because I did have him at 6 red stars. That being said, This was pre-ISOs as well, so keep that in mind. 360k team power. This was quite overkill, I think, so you could probably manage this around the 250 to 300k range if you have Black Bolt. Black Bolt can really carry these nodes a little bit better than some of the other characters, but obviously if you want to 3-star them, then each of your characters are going to need to be a little bit balanced. I would say at least 35 to 40k probably per character, with some of the better characters being stronger. So moving on to the next set, Doom War Chapter 14216. This is the Hero Mystic or Guardians lane only. This is also the LOL Thor unlock segment. Maybe at some point they'll replace him on Doom 16 with someone else, but currently as of this video they haven't yet. So this does include the Celestial Lattice T14 Mystic Mini Unique, and that's on Doom War 15. So in terms of priorities of 3-starring this, at this point in time, to be honest, I really wouldn't try too hard on 3-starring 16. If you can do that, that's great, but a 15 is probably the most important one because that does include the mini uniques for Mystic. Now, the best options, in my opinion, are Ghost Rider, Doctor Strange, Star-Lord, Rocket, and Groot together. However, if you're an earlier or mid-game player working up to this, I understand that you're probably not going to want to over-invest into Guardians if you haven't already. So for me, personally, you know, Guardians were really good in the BKT sort of era, which is the best Kree team with Minerva, but nowadays, they've kind of fallen off the wagon a little bit. So, you know, I don't you know, there is probably something to say here that you don't necessarily have to have these characters, but other options do include characters like Scarlet Witch, Thor, Drax if you are using Star-Lord, Elsa Bloodstone if you are using the other supernatural characters. And then of course, if you really want to go the full Guardians route, make sure you use Mantis to keep your characters alive with healing. Now, I said here what someone else cleared. So there was someone in my Discord who cleared this very recently, just a day ago, and they did manage to do this with a 205k team of Groot, Doctor Strange, Thor, Heimdall, and Ghost Rider, all with level 1 healer ISOs. I typically recommend people to switch over to healer ISOs where possible, because that extra amount of sustain, especially for characters who can't heal themselves, will get you a little bit further in terms of that sustain throughout the chapter level. So this helped for him, and he managed to clear this. What I typically cleared it with was Doctor Strange, Ghost Rider, Rocket, Groot, and Star-Lord, which was, again, the best option I mentioned. But this may not be the best option for you. So I did put 2 different options here. Obviously, there's quite a bit of a gap in power level, but this was pre-ISO 8 that I did it. This was 2 patches ago, so this is what I ended up doing it with. So any of these characters, I would imagine that you would need at least 200k, again, 40 to 50k per person. Maybe try and put some resources into the better characters first, and then work your way. When we get to the end, we'll talk about sort of my final tips and suggestions for campaigns in general. And moving on to Doom War 17 to 19, this is a little bit trickier. This is the Shield, Wave 1 Avenger, and Fantastic Four only lane. This is also where you unlock Negasonic for this as well. And on top of that, you're actually getting the Marrow Extract Bio Mini on Doom War 17, which is a really important one to start farming, especially because of all those amazing bio characters that exist in the game. So being able to farm that node particularly towards other bio characters for Gear Tier 14 is super important. There's also the Omnium Ore as well, which is the Tech Mini that is available on Negasonic's node once you 3-star that and start farming her up for Doc Ock. So really the best options for this is Fantastic Four, including Invisible Woman, with a filler character. Honestly, I think it's a must-have. If you don't have Invisible Woman, I think you're going to struggle with this one. Even using some of the other characters that are available, I think that you're going to require a lot higher team power in order to 3-star it, or some massive RNG luck, and then, you know, smashing your head back and forth until you get the proper RNG on it. Other filler options for this, obviously from Shield and Wave 1 Avenger, though, includes Quake, Agent Coulson, Yo-Yo, but keep in mind that Yo-Yo really doesn't meld well, like I said in the previous section. She doesn't meld very well with other protectors such as Invisible Woman. So if you don't have Invisible Woman but you do have Yo-Yo, you might be able to squeeze out. But Invisible Woman does have a lot more utility in general. So I think you're gonna struggle if you don't use her. Now I put Nick Fury in here as well. I know that Nick Fury isn't a common unlock for early and mid game players. He's a very difficult character to unlock sort of with Creed minions. Most people don't want a shard farm for Creed minions, but I am leaving it there because that is what I use personally to clear it, but I don't think it's what you have to use. And other characters such as Captain America, Thor and Black Widow are possible options. Anyone that I haven't listed there in that section, I honestly don't think are going to be that great, and you're going to struggle to want to use. So what I cleared it with personally was the full Fantastic Four with Nick Fury. This was again pre-ISO 8, and I did manage to clear this with a 3-star at 310k. Now I did some other trials with some other shield types. I think I remember doing Invisible Woman, Nick Fury with like Quake, Shield Security, and Shield Medic, and that was about 300k as well, and I didn't actually manage to 3-star that, so I think if you use the Fantastic Four, that is probably your best option. Fortunately, if you're not quite there, then you might have to, if this is a goal for you, then you're going to need to consider whether and what your priorities are and how much you want to invest in order to get it done. Now, moving to my final tips and suggestions. Now, this might seem familiar if you've seen my Doom War Chapter 2 guide. It's actually exactly the same, but this is what I recommend for all people who are going through campaign chapters. I think especially now that we have ISOs available, consider class changing to healer, even just at level 1. For all characters used in campaigns, you know, unless you have something better like level 3+ on other classes, I think the extra sustain that you get from the healer ISO are going to help you get through the level without dying, especially if you're looking to 3-star this. When preparing for each of the sections, maximize your power on the better characters and less on the crappy ones. So obviously, if you're required to bring up characters that you typically wouldn't level, try to maximize your power out on those better ones so you feel a little bit better about investing in these and you don't have to invest as heavily into some of the other ones. Now, maximize your resources by only putting in what you need into each character and testing it whether or not you can clear it first or not. So really that just means putting in a little bit, maybe one gear tier, and then trying it out again, seeing what works and what doesn't. You know, that way you don't have to waste too much resources by getting through these nodes, because I know a lot of people just want to sort of get past this, get them cleared at 3-star, and then maybe not even touch some of these characters again. So try to gear only the characters that will have a longer term impact on your game. So characters like Invisible Woman, which I think will do, but if you don't want to level the full Fantastic Four team, you know, try to just incrementally gear them as you can and then trying it again. The more the meta the character, the less team power you'll need. So characters like Black Bolt, Invisible Woman, any of the legendaries really, with the exception of maybe Nick Fury, but we'll see. You know, these characters will last you for a while, and you won't feel bad about investing in these. So make sure you do those first before any of the other characters. And that really brings me to the end of the video. You know, it's a bit of a shorter one, but it is a tougher one, especially the Negasonic unlock node, because of the required characters for that. Some people do struggle on that. But like I said, I also do have a playthrough of when I did it, which was pre-ISO, which I'll leave in the description below, in case you guys want to check that out, and that might help you guys think about what kind of team power you might need to bring your characters up, or what to expect in the node themselves. So thanks everyone for watching this video, and of course, if you liked this or found it informative, then please smash that like button down below and consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. And of course, until next time guys, stay safe and I'll see y'all later. Boylon signing out.